Christopher Raishun Marshall is a New York City-based actor, director, and writer. He received his MA in acting from the University of Memphis in 2013 and moved to New York City in 2014 to pursue a career in classical theater and TV and film. He has since trained with Black Arts Intensive Workshop at Stella Adler and has been trained in Jacques Lecoq and Mask, clown and Commedia Dell Arte, classical acting, Viewpoints, and Suzuki. In January of this year, he completed a month-long intensive at Shakespeare Company. You can find out more about Christopher at his website, christophermarshall.net, or on Instagram at Christopher Raishun Marshall. Welcome, Christopher.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm
excited to be here.
Yeah, this is great. Partly because of the way that you and I know each other really is just an introduction to one another are. So you and I really only know each other via two different instances. One was the 3 months that you and I both were at the Sing Place Theater. At least that's how long I was there. And then another time was by happenstance because we both were at Shetler. I believe I was preparing for a performance that night of Fancy Maids that I was doing, I believe. And
yes.
And then you were preparing for an audition or a callback audition. So you asked me to be on book for you while you just practiced it, a few more times before going into it.
Which is what you do in New York. You just see a random person, it's like, hey, come here, help me with the scene.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yep. So, so let's start with how you and I know one another. So how long were you at the Sing Place? Were you there longer than I was for the 3 months?
Yes. Let's see. I was there up until we auditioned for Measure for Measure. I actually auditioned for Measure for Measure. So I'm assuming that was through that spring to that spring. And then I left the company the night of the auditions for Measure for Measure.
Have you kept in touch with anybody from our time there?
Yeah, one of my really good friends, you remember Will, right?
I've been in a performance with him since, yeah.
Yeah, Will and I are really good friends. He and I talk all the time, or I harass him all the time, and he just responds. And he's an actor that I use in a few of my plays, specifically like the play Swingers. I had a play that was actually going to go on a regional tour, and he was going to be one of the stars of it, and then all of this happened, so we have to kind of see what's going on with that. But yeah, I've been doing these weekly readings, and he was actually in a reading like 3 weeks ago. I haven't talked to him since. I need to get to reach out to him. But Will, that's the only person that I talk to like consistently. I speak to Robin from time to time, if you remember Robin. But Will and Isaac, the other Isaac, the Black Isaac.
I forgot that there was another Isaac there. That's right.
Yeah, there was Black Isaac. I talked to him. Other than that, I don't really think I still communicate with anybody from there.
I remember there were a handful of people that I really enjoyed spending time with, like talking on the way to the train or whatever. So Will and I, as I said, we were in a production together.
Mm-hmm.
He filled in at the last minute for the lead, which was, just fantastic. And he was so good. It was called A Kreutzer Sonata. That playwright is actually who I'm interviewing right after you. The playwright
Nice.
And Christine, she and I were on the train quite a bit together. And I was so, as we all are, I was so focused on my career that I had no time. I think she would have enjoyed if we had spent more time together as friends because we're both on the Jersey side, and I certainly would have enjoyed that, but just didn't have time. Donna, similar, we would have rides on the train together talking. Do you remember Donna?
Who's Donna?
What was her last name? I sent her a message recently just thinking maybe she would see it. Donna Cooper. She was a Black lady, skinny, really.
Yeah, I remember who you.
Yeah. I really enjoyed her. I think I may have been a little too much for her at the time because I have a very exuberant personality sometimes, and but she had.
I think a lot of us were too much for Donna. I think everyone was too much for Donna.
Well, Donna has. I mean, she's got. Anyway, it's not about Donna, but she had a lot going on.
Yeah.
Taking care of elderly parents that need a lot of attention, etc.
Brogan.
Oh, yeah, I do stay in touch with Brogan too. Brogan and I are actually pretty cool. And Ajinkya, he went back to India, but
Oh, did he?
yeah, that's why he left the company. It's so funny because you left early on. Literally, when you remember when we all got cast in that company and we all became associate company members, there were like 24 of us. And by the end of the year, they were holding on to like 5 strong, including the two that owned it. Because I feel like there was too many people to have in the company, but then also at the same time, what can we do for company member retention is what it should be the main question that comes up in that.
Yeah, they have a very specific model, and I think the model that they have is worthwhile. To be honest with you,
Oh yeah,
they really helped me kind of see what we do a little bit in a little bit broader terms. I really wasn't thinking about and envisioning what we do as a relationship between us and the audience, like on the regular. I wasn't thinking about it that way. Now I do, specifically because of being around them so much. So I mean, it wasn't like it was a foreign concept. It's just that I didn't think about that going into every production, and now I do.
Yeah, well, most of my training has been in British and French acting training, so like everything I do is in relationship to the audience.
But the next time that you and I met each other was at Shetler Studios, which heartbreaking for all of us to find out that, like a lot of our homes, they've had to shutter up and they're probably not going to return. So
Yeah.
that's incredibly sad for all of us. But yeah, we met there. I was doing an incredible production I was involved in, and later got invited to the Raves Theater Festival, which is a brand new theater festival by Ken Davenport of Broadway fame, and it did win 4 awards. Like it swept their thing. It was a really, really well written piece. But I was there in the lobby-ish area when you were ready to go to a callback. What was it you were auditioning for, and what came of that?
Glad you asked. I was actually thinking about that. I was auditioning for Midsummer, and I got the call back for Oberon, Theseus, and Stag, I believe. Yeah. And in my initial audition, the director was like, what you're giving, I've directed this show for over 20 years. I thought I've seen every possible way to play these characters, and you've shown me something new. I'm super excited. So in my head, I'm like, I fucking got this. I rocked it. You know what I mean? We ran the lines. You and I ran the lines outside. And as I was waiting for my turn, there happened to be another audition going on. And for a film festival, and I was like, oh, they're looking to audition for like hosts and presenters for a film festival. So since I'm super early and I got time, I'll just go to that audition real quick. Sorry.
I totally forgot. I think I was going to that night too. Yeah, you're jogging my memory here. Yeah.
Yeah. So what came of that was I went to the audition. I started being myself in the audition. I had everyone at the film festival audition laughing. When I left the room, you just heard like howling laughing down the hallways. And I was like, yeah, rock that audition. Now I'm going to go rock this callback and then, get both these gigs, because this Midsummer ends in February. The film festival starts the week after Midsummer ends. Perfect thing. So I get into my Midsummer audition, and the casting director says, so there was this young white woman, like blonde-haired white woman who went before me. She was auditioning to be Titania, and I was auditioning for Oberon. And I thought she and I would hit it off pretty well. She got into the audition, and apparently while she was auditioning, she wanted to make sure that they understood that I took the time to go do another audition.
Wait, I don't think I'm following.
So she snitched on me that I went to the casting director for Midsummer, that I ran off to go do another audition, even though it wasn't my audition time. So when I came back, the casting director made sure to say in front of the director and the producer, oh, so you decided to go do another audition while waiting for your callback. And I was like, yeah. And so I did the callback. They loved the callback, but I didn't get the role because apparently it's frowned upon to go audition for something else while you're, even though it's not your call, not your audition time. Like my audition time was like 45 minutes after the time that I went to do the audition, the other audition, but they looked down on that. So I didn't get it.
So what did you end up getting involved in at that period of time?
Well, I did get the Winter Film Award.
Nice.
Thing. I got a host and presenter position there. And then I also became a film judge for that company as well. And I was an interviewer. I was going around interviewing like the different artists and directors and stuff like that. Also, I had booked an original play that went up at Dixon Place. So like I didn't get that, and then literally the next day I booked the lead in an original play that went up in Dixon Place,
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to ask you what the play was. Go ahead.
Oh, the play was called the play was called Damned, and my role was Madathon. It's kind of like a future dystopian kind of Shakespearean sort of thing where we go so far in the future that it actually now looks like the past because like there's no electricity or anything anymore. So we have to live like the Middle Ages. And I was Prince Madathon, who was dealing with his father and the kingdom and a lot of like underhanded stuff that was going on. There was magic and dragons and gods and then I ended up dying at the end. So it was all in good fun, you know. So.
Well, it sounds like it had the potential to be a really good piece. Did it feel that way?
No, it really was. It was really good. And actually, I really enjoyed it. I wish that we could turn it into something more. Hopefully, we will when the pandemic ends. And then right after that, or while I was in that, I booked Malvolio in Twelfth Night. So I was learning my lines for Malvolio while performing for Damned, which was tough because in Damned, I was literally on every page except for like 2 or 3. Had a million lines to learn, but I was also learning lines for Malvolio, and I was in a film. So it was just like a lot going on at one time.
So you're from Tennessee, is that right?
No, I'm from Mississippi. That's where I am now. And I lived in Tennessee for 6 years while I went to school and worked.
Okay. So if you could talk about what it was like to grow up, I don't know if I want to say the South, but if I want to say like Mississippi and then Tennessee, but talk about what it was like growing up and how Shakespeare became such a focus for you. Was it tied into your initial finding that you loved the art of theater, or was it something else entirely? How did Shakespeare enter your life? How did art enter your life? What was that like in the Southern states?
I honestly didn't like theater at the time, but in the 3rd grade, a traveling Shakespeare company came and performed Taming of the Shrew. And I didn't understand what they were doing. I just knew that I wanted to do that. And then in the 7th grade, my next experience to Shakespeare was the 7th grade when we had to read Hamlet and Macbeth. And then in like the 8th grade, we read Romeo and Juliet. And then I didn't have any Shakespeare again until like my master's degree in acting. Like that was like the last of Shakespeare until I started my master's in acting. And the first role I got cast in was Claudius in Hamlet, in the college production of Hamlet. And then after that, I was Benedict. And then after that, I was Antony. And then after that, I was Paris and Prince in Rome. When I was in elementary school, my uncle, who was a college professor in physics and geology and a bunch of other things, he literally has a degree in every science known to man, which was weird. But he would bring physics books and analytical geometry books for me to learn. And he'd expect me to have read and worked out the problems in all of those books by the next year, like the next summer when he returned. So I'd get a handful of books in college physics at age 11 and expected to have it completed by the following year. So my brain already processed things that were advanced or complex. So when I saw this language of Shakespeare at such a young age, it felt like another puzzle to uncrack or to figure out. And I don't know, it was just fun to try to understand what was being said, even though I didn't quite understand what was being said all the time. And I don't know, growing up, it was hard in the South because really the only type of art that you really had was band or choir, which I was in both of those. And then even our drama teacher in my high school was the speech teacher. So for most of the year, we would just do speech. And then once a year, we put on a production. We put on one musical and one stage play, and that would be like the theater component. So it was very hard to get any type of theater growing up. And so my life went into dance first, which was what I first did in college. I was a dancer. I was performing at a dance theater down here in Mississippi where I was playing. I played the big bad wolf in Little Red Riding Hood. I played
Nice.
all of that. And then I graduated and I was like, I don't want to do dance. This was just me trying to express my artistic outlet. And so then I went and got my degree in music, which led to me getting a degree in theater and acting. And I'm grateful for the music degree because even though I don't really use it anymore, I had a lot of embarrassing moments where I had to get on stage and music and stand in front of a bunch of people who were looking at me, expecting me to sound really great or really bad. And sometimes being cheered on, sometimes being booed off the stage. So I think by the time I got to acting, a lot of actors are like, oh my God, I get so nervous when audition and performance. I think back to when I was in music, I'm like, you know what, that don't bother me. When you get booed off the stage 2 or 3 times a week, if you go into an audition, it does not bother. So I'm grateful for being booed off the stage. I'm grateful for people saying, you can't sing, but focus on something else.
Right.
So.
That's a first. That's not happened to me, nor does it happen to any guest, at least as much as they've divulged to me. So that's a little badge of honor, getting booed off a stage at some point.
Yeah. No,
Nice.
but it's funny because when I started my degree in music, I'd done choir and I'd done band, but I've never done any solo singing. And so there were technical things that I didn't know that I would get in front of an audience of like 100 people and then do something completely horrible and that I didn't know that I was doing. And then everyone was just giving the like, so who's next?
Hi. Are you good?
Yeah, I am. You Latrice?
Yeah, I am.
Oh. Well, have a seat. I gotta admit, I was a bit nervous.
Why? You seem like a very confident man.
With the name Latrice, I thought you were gonna be black. You don't find too many white girls with the name Latrice.
You're racist.
No, I'm not. I love black people. Black people, I have some of my best friends are black.
And then eventually, after I started realizing how to fix those things, then the performances started getting better and I started getting invited to things. I did an internship with Hidden Beach Recordings where Jill Scott was on that label. Jill Scott, Kindred and the Family. I got to meet some dope people. I sang with Richard Smallwood from I got to meet India Irie. I don't know if you know these people, but India Irie.
Some of them.
Her. So it was super fun. And then I came into acting. So. And there I've been in New York 6 years. I've been in acting since 2010. I started acting in 2011, in August of 2011. So this August will be 9 years, and never look back, really.
Were there one or more people that were kind of your inspiration to get into acting, or was it maybe like your mom or a teacher? Were there people responsible for you deciding to follow your path?
Yes. So, but it wasn't like TV famous. My old professor, Mark Allen Davis, who was on The Lion King on Broadway for like 20 years, when the original Lion King cast, he became a college professor at my school. And he told me that he saw that there was a lot of turmoil in me because I wanted to pursue the arts, but I also wanted to do what my family wanted me to do, which was become a doctor. And so he told me to go out, lay on the lawn, stare up at the stars, because in the South we can see the stars, and just ask the universe what's in store for me. And when I did, all roads led back to acting, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
and
of course.
So then I went and I joined the Masters in Acting program. I auditioned and got in without any acting training prior. And in one of my teacher's classes, her name was Sarah Brown. She had us do an exercise where we had to imagine what would happen if acting wasn't in our life anymore. And I was still at this time a very, very new actor. But when she said that, I broke down and cried in the classroom, to the point where they were like, "What's wrong? Is everything okay?" Like, they thought that I was having like a breakdown. And I looked at her and I was like, I can't imagine not acting. And like, that was like, I guess that was the bud of my acting career. And then after that, I've just been like in New York, working, grinding really hard. My motto is to always, to never strive for anything less than perfection. Perfection is like the baseline, and I'm shooting for more than that. Do you know what I mean?
I hear you.
Because I want to make sure that, because I believe wholeheartedly that when you have a product, people as consumers, we purchase product because it's the best product. And the more quality a product is, the more the more people that will purchase it. If it's like a crappy product, then no one's going to really want to buy it. So I just make sure that my writing, my acting, my directing, I always try to push myself to be better, because I want to give my audience the best product possible.
And that's probably part of the reason why you chose to come to New York, because it's your options if you want to follow this as far as it can take you is New York, LA, or London. There's certainly Chicago, and there's certainly Vancouver. There's plenty of places to do what we do, but New York is, is one of the places you go if you want to see how far you can actually take things. So when you come here, had you ever stepped foot in New York before you decided to come here to pursue acting?
Nope, never. I was afraid of New York. Never. But I'm kind of wild like that. I literally would just be chilling one day and then be like, you know what? And this actually happened. I think COVID sent my ass down, because I was like, you know what? I'm kind of bored with New York right now. I want to go to London for a bit and then come back to New York. I wanted to leave and go to London and come back. And I auditioned for Lambda, and I got the invite email saying that I was next on the waiting list, and then one of the people didn't accept it, so I was waitlisted, and then I got in, but I canceled it, and I think Central School for Speech and Drama, I was going to audition for them as well, but I just kind of canceled and changed my mind and went to Shakespeare & Co. instead. But I would have gotten up literally and gone to London, just like, you know what, I'm just going to go to London for a year and then come back. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I'm just sporadic like that. But I've never been to New York before. I've never been anywhere on the Northeast coast before. I've never been higher than, I'd say, South Carolina prior to coming to New York.
Wow. That's a big cultural shift.
Yeah.
So you spent about 6 years here, right?
Yes. Yes, 6 years. 2014 was when I got, January 2014 is when I moved. So it's about 6 years now, 6.5, even though I haven't been there for 3 months.
So when did you say, okay, see you, New York, I got to get out of here?
For the COVID
Yeah.
situation? Oh, literally the day after they announced it on the news. They were like, Westchester has 100 cases, and New York City has 12 cases.
I remember that day.
And then the next day, if you remember, the next day, the number of cases in New York City went up to 100, and the number in Westchester went to like 200 and something. And I was like, you know what? This is my cue to leave. So I hopped up on a plane and got out of there. And I'm glad I did, because literally like 3 or 4 days later, it was in the thousands. And the 300,000s eventually. So I was like, I'm glad I made the decision that I made to leave. And now I'm actually coming back, probably in the next like 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay. What is your artistic vision moving forward, hoping that there's some degree of normalcy for the arts in New York?
My artistic vision moving forward is to kick the doors of the industry down and just walk in. I am still acting, obviously. I'm still forcing myself that I'm never satisfied with where I am. So no matter how good I get, I'm always going to be looking for better. I'm working on my writing. I've sent a few things to Network, to ABC, and to Netflix. I'm waiting to hear back from that. And if nothing good comes from it, I'll just keep sending until something happens. But I do know that I'm going to take more of a writer-actor standpoint going forward, where I'm going to create content. I'm going to create my own content. I'm going to perform in it. But I'm also going to pitch the content that I create to networks, to Netflix, to Hulu. So now I guess moving forward, it's just figuring out how to continue to be stable, because I've been a stable actor and writer. I've been getting paid for my acting and writing for the past 4 years of me being in New York. First 2 years I was kind of like freelance / pay, but now I've been getting a steady pay for it. So I want to make it moving forward, find myself in a place where my art can support my life and my lifestyle. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. That's the goal for all of us. Yeah. I mean, it's doing that until this happened. It was doing that for me, but I still had to pick up an occasional shift at my side gig. And the goal is to make the kind of money I was making when I was computer programming, which pays substantially more than being a working actor in New York for 2 years. So yes. That's certainly the goal.
Yeah. And hopefully one of my TV shows will get picked up, and I'll be writing for some network or something, and then that way I can create more opportunities for actors and myself and people who are my friends and in my community and my circle. Because it's crazy, because there's been so many people who see my talent and they go to bat for me. They've been like really supporting and pushing me. And sometimes when I feel like I don't want to push anymore, I have people constantly pushing me forward. And so I definitely want to be able to succeed in this, so that I can succeed more than I already have, I guess, so that I can really give back to those who've been constantly pushing me forward. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
People who supported me, I want to give back to them. And people who are probably out there who can't get certain opportunities or haven't gotten an opportunity, I want to at least try to open up a doorway for them as well. I'm all about sharing with the community, as opposed to like, I gotta have this for myself and no one else. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Chris, thank you so much, dude.
All right, thank you.